Our last, no, not our last, the next to last is the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board. Mike Mora and Andre Moore.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning all. Gives us great pleasure to present our report to you today. We do have one part A, and that's the approval of the concept design for the Hornby Centre concept design. So we're very pleased with that, and we just hope that now that concept design is been accepted, or will be accepted, that we see it as a shovel-ready project in Hornby. Whether it is or not, that's the way we see it, and we just want to get on and get the job done. Also, in our report, we touch on a lot of things that we've done, like road naming and no parking, but typical mundane things. But there's some other things here that I'd just like to raise your attention to, and that's the Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Activities and Services Guide for Older Adults. It's a lovely publication, and we're just so proud of it, and we just got to get that out and network it as much as we possibly can. So just appreciation for that. And the other thing, significant events and projects in our area, you'll see when we get to the slides. We've had the Rickett Expo, but I just want to mention in advance is Hello Hornby event is planned for Saturday the 13th of March next year. So that's something that our community really appreciate. And there is other things like in our report you'll see that we've had the Rickett on the roll, but also I mentioned the Hornby Day next year, but also Halswell celebrating Christmas themed events at the Halswell Community Hub. So there's lots of things happening, some with our neighbours of course, and anyway I don't want to dwell too much on that, but we'll get on to our presentation in now, please, Andre. And we've got the can we just go back to the other one? That's right, that's Rickett on the roll. So that's an event that was held on the 22nd of September, where people came from the community and to talk about what things we can do in Riccarton. So that was a very useful event. And then this one, at our last board meeting, I had the pleasure of presenting Gretchen Smith, the principal of Wharenui School. Or just to remind people, it was called the Riwi Alley School. I don't know whether everybody realises that, but that school established a strong link with the Chinese community. And one of the things that Gretchen, in her time as the principal, she arrived in 2011, but she'd worked for the school before becoming the principal, and she was very active in the March terrorist attack and supporting the Muslim families in the area, and worked very closely with them and their children to help them through that time. But the other interesting fact that I want to mention about the Riwi Alley Wharenui School is that since 2011, the roll has virtually tripled from 120 students to 330 students. So it's gone from 6 classes to 16 classes, and it now has children from 32 cultures who speak 46 different languages. So that's something it's amazing, really. I'm just getting shivers down my spine thinking about it. That is what a wonderful school, and to have that many cultures and that many languages at that school, it's very, very special. And to see it growing and roll as well is really encouraging. So it was really good. But Linwood, you've inherited Gretchen, so I'm sure she's going to be an asset to your community. Thanks, Andre. Rickett and Hoops event that was held last week, and no, it was earlier this week. Anyway, it was that's in the car park next to our new Rickett and Community Centre. So we had a basketball event there during the school holidays. So that was very well attended, and they had free sausage sizzle as well. So that was a lovely event organised by our staff. And then we've got the Waipuna Halls, the Quaifs Road issue, and I'll now pass you over to Andre to speak about this matter that was quite passionate. Our board, most of us are, about this. So anyway, Andre.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So an issue that's come up at our board. So the board's yet to come to a decision on what recommendation it will be making. So council have released their community facilities network plan, which states that the citywide there are currently no significant major geographical gaps in the network of all council and non-council facilities taken into account. I'm looking at the Halswell part of the map here. Naturally, some might see a significant geographical gap here. So there has been just some concern from residents around Halswell that we aren't planning for sufficient community spaces in future. We are growing very fast with many new subdivisions popping up, many thousands of people moving to the area going forward. Of course, this report came to the board, was deemed a surplus land, and can understand why it was done so. Of course, for any potential community use or community facilities, you'd have to put forward a business case. But if a community's not consulted, of course, there's no possible business case that could ever come out of it. So in this part of Quaifs Road, so recently 1,200-year-old Mātai tree stumps were uncovered by the Halls Residents Association. Sorry I don't have it in the slide, but there is a lovely picture here that the star covered of our tree stumps. So they're hoping to further investigate what's under the surface there.
Yes.
And there is some interest from local iwi. So there's just concern that before the land was ripped up, used for a subdivision, that any excavation work could be done, which could prevent the ability for carvers to access materials, for example. So just something we're very mindful of, that there is interest there.
How old are those stumps, Andre?
Up to 1,200 years old.
Yes, significant.
So yeah, it's totally understood why this land is deemed as surplus, and obviously in 10 to 20 years down the track, it seems very unlikely we'll ever be using the words land and surplus in the same sentence in the Halswell area. So obviously there's a number of factors involved in how these decisions are made in the process. But just when this board has had sports club and community groups come to us earlier in the year crying out for new spaces, we're growing so fast, and then of course we have surplus land. Of course, we had to investigate exactly what options were out there and find out where we're at, take a snapshot of our community, how it looks now, how it's going to look in 10 to 15 years' time. So that's why further work had been done by the board in investigating this.
We're just looking into the future, and we understand that that land had to be brought as a deal to get the land for the detention system. But there is an opportunity. Could it be found to actually set aside a portion of that land, because we know it's going to be growing in that area, and we know that there is going to be need for land for community facilities as well. So what we're saying is looking into the future, and that's what we're here. We're not here just to make decisions for today. We're here to make decisions and recommendations into the future. So to sell all of that land is a concern, because we don't want to be going around in another 20 years' time and buying houses and bowling them over so we can get green space. what's proposed, of course, as the developments go, is there will be pocket parks in there, 3,000 square metre pocket parks, but that's not what we really need. As a community growing, we need a bigger area of land to be set aside for future community use and space. So we'll leave it at that, will we, Andre?
Yeah, that's us. Thank you.
I'm afraid you've taken up your full 10 minutes, so, but I presume we'll be hearing more about the work that you're getting done on that matter.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'd like to move it,
I
Jimmy?
like to move, yeah. But please one comment because the
Wait.
staff only briefing.
You
yeah.
can debate it. You can debate it.
Okay, not debate,
but
just comments.
You're moving
comments,
it,
yeah.
and
Not debate. I move, yeah.
seconded by Anne. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there's a community particular concern, particularly regarding to the surplus the piece of land, but actually it's not considered faster growth population in that kind of the southwest area, and like the Magmore mentioned earlier, it's not the pocket park can meet those fast growth committee needs here. But the staff were actually on the past Tuesday, they briefing to us. So we committee board all have this kind of concern. But formal this meeting agenda will present to the committee board on next week. So committee board still eligible, to express their concern, then bring to the council's the table through all the kind of the process and the channel. But regarding to the rest of the kind of report, I would like to move. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you. Thank you both very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And